what is, because you and I had some sideline conversations about this. Let's do this, man. I think a lot of people will be interested in hearing about this. What is the future of instructional design? I mean, if there ever was a practice and a profession that could benefit from AI, like one of the first things you run to is probably instructional design. I would think it's so obvious. So what is the future of instructional design, and where's it headed with AI? And we'll dive into that a little bit more details.
Yeah, like AI, especially with the generative AI that we're seeing out of ChatGPT and things like that. I mean, it's going to disrupt everything. I don't think instructional design, e-learning, I mean, it's not alone in trying to figure out kind of what the future looks like, how it's going to be used, and then how it's going to change things, how it's going to disrupt things. Like the way I look at it, specifically to instructional design, just because that's kind of my area of expertise, but I think the principle applies across industry, is in the near term, kind of the low-hanging fruit, how does AI kind of augment your current practices and processes, right? So like I mentioned ADDIE, for example, like how does it make going through the analysis, design, development, implementation, and evaluation faster, better? You know, you're still doing the same things, but the tool is like jump-starting you, right? Like I've seen like a lot of LMSs like LearnWorlds are kind of incorporating the early design framework of assessments and content outlines with this kind of AI tools that make it much faster. So what would have taken you maybe 8 hours before, you can do in 1 hour.
Yeah.
Right. So it's accelerating it. But so that's kind of the low-hanging fruit. That's like where we are now. That's doing the same process. It's still doing ADDIE. It's just doing it faster, better, easier.
What would, so for example, what? For example, you can imagine that you'd be able to go to an AI interface and ask it to do what, and it would do what for you? What do you see coming?
Well, that's the question, right? And I don't know that I've seen a good answer. So I think that's what a lot of people are figuring out. Because what if instead of having to go through ADDIE, you could skip the analysis, right? Instead of having to say, okay, people at my company aren't filling out this form well, right? Maybe there's an education issue. Maybe they don't know how to fill it out, right? So you do the analysis. Okay, do they know how to fill it out? No, they don't. Here's where they're struggling. Okay, so we need to design something that addresses that gap, right? That's how you traditionally do it. But what if kind of the machine in the background identifies that gap before the humans even realize it, right? It can see it coming. Oh, these reports are becoming, we see that trend, they're coming in late, or there's a lot of errors. Let's fix it. And then it changes the form even before you need to train it, or it creates the training or job aid before you even realize you need one, right? Like, can it anticipate, analyze and anticipate before we could even get to it, right? So will it change ADDIE? Like maybe we don't need it anymore. Maybe or maybe it'll be shorter, right? I don't know.